Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Peer Inward. It's April 17th, Friday, and my name is John Suno, and I'm joined by Devin Lee.
Hello.
Devin is actually Bree's brother. She was on the show for one episode, the previous episode, actually. I wanted to talk about the new PS5 controller and this thing called the Play at Home initiative from Sony, but I didn't really write anything about it. So instead, this one will be focused on, actually be less focused. It'll be more freeform. So I want to start off with just introducing yourself and maybe talk about what kind of games you like, and then afterwards we can, whatever you feel like.
Yeah. So with games, I started playing when I was pretty little. I remember one of my mom's friends got me a GameCube for I think it was my birthday or something. But I didn't honestly didn't even like playing it that much. I liked like when my friends came over and watching them play. I don't know. I guess I was too small and I was kind of lazy to play the games. But I got a PS2, and that's when I started to play more games. Like I like racing games a lot. I like Need for Speed, and there was this ATV game that I was really into. But my house got broken into, and they took the PS2, and it had the ATV game in it, so that was real sad. And then Xbox 360 was where I'd say like I became like a real fan of video games. I liked a lot of first-person shooters, and of course Call of Duty and stuff like that. And then with the PS4, I got more into like indie games and more like story-driven games, like God of War. Recently, I beat that one. And then yeah, I really like Hotline Miami too. It's one of my favorites for an indie game.
So you're not really loyal to anything?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I used to, like I said, I used to like the 360 a lot, but I switched over to PlayStation. I don't know. I just feel like I kind of go with what I think has the best stuff at the time.
360 was really popular last gen, and then everyone switched over to PS4.
They really did. It's crazy.
So you were playing GameCube first? What games did you try that didn't grab you?
Oof. I was so little, I didn't even play, like, the really cool ones, like, I never played Luigi's Mansion or any of those big ones on GameCube. I was too busy playing, like, licensed games. Like, I remember I played a Power Rangers game. I don't have a very good memory of this. I used to, like, my mom used to put out a tent in the front room, and, my friend and I would rent a game from Blockbuster back when they were around. And I remember renting a Power Rangers game and playing. Oh, and Pac-Man. There was a 3D Pac-Man game that I liked a lot.
Oh, licensed games. So that's probably why you're into racing games.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it. Need for Speed has always been one of my favorites. I've always liked that one. I played Most Wanted on the 360. I think that was the last one I played, and I really liked that one.
I was really a fan of Midnight Club 2 on PS2.
Oh yeah, that one was cool. I liked that one too, and I liked Need for Speed Underground as well.
Do you like drifting?
I'd say I like drifting. It's yeah, drifting's pretty cool. I didn't even know you could drift in Mario Kart until on the Switch. Like, when I played my first Mario Kart game was Mario Kart Wii, and I did not know how to drift on that game. But that's a game I played with Brianna a lot and my other sisters.
There's this game that's coming out called Art of Rally, and it's made by this one Canadian dude, and it has a demo out that I've been playing on PC. It's basically it's this top-down view of the car. So it's not directly behind the car like most games are, like in racing games or GTA. And the demo has one track, and it's in Finland, and it's not really an arcadey feeling, it's more realistic, and each car has their own different statistics. That there are two different cars, and when you drive the two different cars you can really feel it. But basically it's this really cool drifting. Well, it's a rally game, but there's a ton of drifting that you would need to do if you want to get through the track fast enough.
Oh, yeah? What was it called again?
Art of Rally. Yeah, if you like racing, I think you should check out the demo on PC. I've been playing it a ton. It's so fun. Even though there's one track, I'm still just trying to master that track. I think it's only planned so far for PC.
Yeah, this looks really cool. When you said, top down, I pictured, like, almost like a symmetrical view, but I like the way that the camera is, like, kind of at an angle in the sky.
Yeah, it's not like the old school GTAs where it's straight up bird's eye.
Yeah.
But I like the art style too. It's not the handling is more realistic than the visuals. The visuals are more stylized.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah, you should. It's oh my god, it's so fun because I'm playing with manual transmission. It's so cool playing with a controller. Yeah, like you're piloting a mech.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
So did you play any of the other big PS4 games other than God of War?
Yeah, I played Spider-Man, I played Bloodborne, which I really liked. I had a PS3 too, and The Last of Us is one of my favorites. Oh, and Uncharted. I played Uncharted 4 as well.
Those are all good games. I didn't finish Bloodborne, played maybe 10 hours, but the creature design in that game is really unique.
Yeah, it's crazy cool. All their games are great. I know that that Steam has Sekiro on sale right now. I think it's $40. I was thinking of picking it up, but every time I get one of those games, it always just sits on my shelf for a long time before I find, like, the courage to start it.
If you don't think you'll play it, might as well just wait for a deeper sale.
Exactly. Wait a few more months until the summer sale.
So you grew up with PS2 mainly, which is what kickstarted your whole hobby with games?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know, I'd say with the PS2, I was still kinda little. I really, I liked games, but I would say that the 360 is when I got, like, really into games. That's kinda what made me, like, a big fan. Because when I had a PS2, I played, like, racing games, and I played SSX, the snowboarding game. I liked that one a lot. I liked Guitar Hero, of course, during that time. Guitar Hero was huge. So I'd say that, like, the PS2 was like my intro to, like, serious gaming, but I didn't really get big into it until the Xbox.
So what are some of your favorite games on 360?
Ooh, on 360, that's a tough question. The one that pops in my head right now, I don't know how it was, like, taken critically. I don't know if it was the greatest, but I liked, that one game Rage a lot by Bethesda and id Software. That one was cool. I like that one a lot. Of course, I think Bethesda is one of, like, a lot all their games I really like Fallout and, Fallout 3 and New Vegas. New Vegas in particular, I really liked. I played that with my friend.
I'm trying to remember, but that might have been when Rage 1 came out. That might have been before Bethesda bought id.
Was it? It's possible. I could be wrong.
Did you check out the sequel or Rage 2?
I did not check out Rage 2, and it seemed really cool, and it's something I wanna do, but it kinda changed tone. Like, Rage 2 seemed a lot more colorful, and I feel like it took a lot of influence from Borderlands, which is another one of my favorites on, 360. Borderlands 2 in particular.
Even the cover where there's that woman with a mohawk just with her mouth screaming just reminds me of Borderlands.
Yeah, it really does. Borderlands is a game that I love, that's so dear to my heart. When I played, the first one. When did that one come out? Was it, like, 2010, I wanna
I
say?
think it was 2008.
2008. Oh,
Oh, no, it was October 2009.
2009. Okay, so I played that game. I think I played that game maybe a year or 2 after it came out because my friend showed it to me. I was maybe, like, 11 or 12, and, I remember I was so scared of the skags when I was, like, 'cause they would jump at you. I was so scared of those things.
Did you play it solo?
Yeah, I played the first one solo. I was Brick, the berserker. The second one I played with my fists, and I was the siren character with the bubble.
Basically the mage.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like with those kinda co-op games, like, my friends and I always plan to play them, and then, like, there's always scheduling errors, like, we never can find a time where we're all free.
Yeah, that's basically I remember when that game first came out, people were describing it as Diablo with guns.
That's a fact. That's a good, explanation for it. Diablo is a game that I played a lot too. My dad liked that one. I played it with, my other sister, Madison, and then I remember when the 3rd one came out, it was like it was almost an event at my dad's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we all played that game, except for Brianna and Stu didn't play it, and neither did Renee. It was just me, my dad, and Madison. We all really liked the Diablo series.
I know sometimes he plays Diablo 2, or it might be 1, but I know it's not 3. And then sometimes when I'm over, it's your dad and Renee playing together.
Oh, yeah? I did not know that Renee played.
Yeah, there was even a time after dinner where she said, "So you wanna play?" And then he just wanted to watch TV, so she didn't get to play.
Aw, that's sad. Yeah, Diablo 2 was super fun because my sis that was another game that my sister and I played when we were little. I think we played that when we were it was before Borderlands for sure, so it was maybe, like, 8 or 9, somewhere around there, and I remember there was this, I don't remember if it was Diablo 1 or 2, but there was, like, this pig butcher, and, like, we had the hardest time beating that boss. I just remember that vividly.
I got it on Switch, and then I tried having Bree play it with me, but she didn't like it. We only played for maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, that was that quick, huh? She made her decision?
Yeah, and I also didn't really get too deep into it. I've never really given it much of a chance, but she actively did not like the game.
Oh. She's into, the simulator games, right? Like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing.
Yeah, well, she likes Animal Crossing a lot more than Stardew Valley. If you look at her profile on Switch, she has either 60 or 65 hours in Animal Crossing.
What the heck? That's more than any game that she's ever played.
Yeah, I think that's the most hooked she's been on a game in terms of sheer hours.
Would you classify Minecraft in the same vein as those games?
Yeah, kind of, in the way that they're casual, not really demanding your concentration.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Minecraft was my favorite one out of all of them.
I was never really into Minecraft, but there was a point where I was really into Terraria.
Yeah, that was fun. That one has bosses though, right?
Yeah, it has a lot more equipment, a lot of different kinds of equipment and weapons, and it has bosses. Yeah, like the main difference is it's also just 2D.
Yeah, my friends and I, tried to get a Terraria server running, and I think the first boss is the eyeball, right?
I think so.
Yeah, we got past the eyeball, but then, we kinda fell off playing it. That's always a game that I wanted to get into because it's pretty much like you said, Minecraft, but more with more stuff and 2D.
Yeah, I didn't really have a 360. Well, I had a 360, but I returned it.
Oh,
But I gamed on PS3. So in high school, my mom would give me lunch money, but instead of eating lunch, I would save it. And so I just saved up enough to get a PS3. And when I got it, I just told her that my friends they pitched in together to get it for me. But I knew that I wanted a PS3, but I was just really researching what my first game would be. And then I ended up getting Uncharted 2 because it was praised for its single player, and then I really liked the multiplayer. I didn't at the time, I didn't really know anything else like it. You know, multiplayer where there's verticality. It's basically just what you would expect. It's Uncharted gameplay with multiplayer. You know, you're climbing on an edge and then there's someone who's walking towards that edge you're on, but they don't really see you because all you can really see are your little fingers. And then when they get close enough, you could pull them down and then just kill them that way.
yeah, I got a PS3 later. I think I got it on, like, Black Friday or something at a Slim, and I remember I played Uncharted 2 at my dad's house because he had a PS3 as well, but I played Uncharted 3 online, and I remember, they had Fat Drake, and and that made me laugh. I used to love playing as Fat Drake.
Yeah, they had Fat Drake in the previous one too,
Oh, okay.
but I think for Uncharted 4, I think they took it out.
Aw.
Something that really stands out to me with that is Drake's theme song. Do you remember how it goes?
As Fat Drake or normal Drake?
No, just regular Drake. It's basically the series theme song, but I think it's just called Drake's theme or something like that.
No, I do not. I do not remember how it goes.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh yeah.
dun. Yeah, that always gives me chills. That's a nostalgic tune for me. But that campaign really stands out to me from Uncharted 2 because all of the shit that they throw at Drake, the globetrotting he does to the different settings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was also my first game that I ever got in HD.
Oh wow. That's pretty monumental.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the final boss? I know that's a lot of there's a lot of people don't like about the main antagonist.
Oh, yeah, it just felt like they were trying to fill in a fucking quota. I thought it was definitely shoehorned.
I do. I think it was as well. I feel like Uncharted 4, I liked pretty much every character in that I thought was great. Even his brother, who they kind of just added. I think that Troy Baker was the brother. I think his name was Sam, and then of course
Yeah.
Nolan North was Drake.
Uncharted 4 is really interesting because they introduced Sam and they wrote him in a way that made me eventually care about him, even though that was the first game he was introduced in.
I know Naughty Dog. They're just fantastic.
Have you seen the fucking trailer for Uncharted 4? Oh my god, it's this 1-minute trailer. Well, there's a bunch of trailers, but it's a CG trailer, and it makes you think that Drake is trying to grab this treasure. It's one of those kind of shots where it's a revolving shot where everything is going in slow motion and the camera is slowly spinning around the whole room. So it looks like Drake is reaching for a coin, a gold coin, when this whole castle or cave is falling apart. And he says something like, "People think they know me." And the music is really dramatic. And then when the camera pans around enough, it reveals that he's actually trying to save his brother from falling. He's not trying to grab the coin.
Oh, and that was that the first time you saw his brother?
No. I've seen his brother before, but that trailer, that stands out to me. I think the best trailer I've ever seen was the fucking have you seen the Halo 3 trailer where they're all little figures?
No, I did not see that one.
Oh my god.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I gotta send you that one.
Yeah. What was one of your favorite E3 demos or trailers?
E3? I don't know. Nothing really that stands out to me.
Do you remember the Prey 2 trailer? The game that got canceled?
No, but I kinda know the history of it, that it never ended up being a thing, right?
Yeah, dude, my friend and I were so excited for that game. The trailer was so like it was just great because you were a bounty hunter and like you were doing like parkour stuff and you were running around and trying to chase like other aliens. It was amazing, and unfortunately that game got canceled. That one and Far Cry 3, I think, are the two best E3 trailers I saw.
I don't really know what the best ones I saw were, but things that I got really excited for were it was always when Smash Brothers was announced. Have you played I think it's the 2017 Prey or 2016?
No, with the glue gun and stuff, I did not play that one either. I like that studio a lot. Arcane. I like Dishonored quite a bit. That's one of my favorite new franchises.
I actually have it on PC. I got it on a pretty good sale. And in terms of single player, it's really atmospheric. It reminds me of BioShock a lot.
It does with the powers and stuff.
Yeah. And also the way that a lot of the story is sprinkled throughout little collectibles where it has audio diaries and everything.
Mhm.
I think actually some of the founders at Arcane used to be they were people who worked on System Shock
Oh, okay.
who ended up making BioShock.
Yeah, that was Ken Levine's game, right? System Shock 2, his big one.
Yeah, I think so. The second one.
Yeah.
Dude, we haven't heard from Ken Levine in hella long.
So long, dude. It's been since BioShock Infinite, I think. He has a new studio called Oh, I think it's called People Can Fly? I don't remember, but, yeah, I was just on their website a little while ago. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they got anything that works. Oh, no, it's Ghost Story Games.
Yeah, I think People Can Fly are the ones who made Bulletstorm. That probably just means that it's a PS5 and Xbox game. And since we haven't really seen any PS5 games, he can't really talk about it.
It's under secrecy. Yeah, I'm on their website now, and, they got a little, office space. Yeah. Did you like, BioShock Infinite? I know that's another divisive game amongst some people.
So a thing that is really common with me is I play a bunch of games, and even though I don't dislike it, I stop playing it after an hour or 2 hours, and that includes BioShock Infinite.
I like that game a lot. I think that was it came out the same year as The Last of Us. I think at the end of the year, I would always my friends and I would always pick, like, what our games of the year were, and I think at the time, I chose BioShock Infinite over The Last of Us, which is looking back now, those 2 have definitely flip-flopped.
You think The Last of Us aged better?
I do, especially with the remastered on PS4. I think it aged so much better than Infinite, but at the time, the story of Infinite kinda blew me away 'cause there's this crazy twist at the end I thought was really cool.
I did play BioShock 1, the whole thing, and I really liked that. And I played probably half of 2, but I didn't really play much of Infinite.
I'm like the opposite. I beat Infinite and I beat BioShock 1, but I barely played any of 2. I started that game and I remember, you had the drill, you were in, like, the Big Daddy, and I don't know, I couldn't get into it. I know that's made by different people though, right? It's not made by, Ken Levine?
Yeah, it was 2K Marin. But the guy who, Gone Home?
Mhm.
The guy who made Gone Home, before he made that game, he worked on the story DLC for BioShock 2, Minerva's Den, which I haven't played, but I hear good things about.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that as well. I have the collection for PS4, but I never went back and played them.
Oh, that reminds me, I used to make a bunch of anime GIFs. So the guy, his name is Steve Gaynor, the guy who made Gone Home, and he actually reblogged one of my GIFs. His Tumblr was called Recall with a K.
It must have felt good. It always feels good when, like, even on, like, there was one time I posted a question on, like, a YouTuber's comments and it got read. It always feels good, like, when somebody you know either recognizes something that you did. Yeah, so oh, wait, Gone Home, that reminds me of, I think I played that game around the same time as the Stanley Parable. Did you ever play that one?
A little bit. I finished Gone Home, but I didn't really play much of Stanley Parable.
Oh, okay. That one I like that one. And that one was, it was more comedic.
So you went from PS2 to Xbox to PS4.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're rooted in PS4 and that you would get a PS5? Or are you open to whatever one is just are you open?
I think that, like, with the PS4 and even the PS3, because I did have one, over time, like, Sony's exclusives have just gotten so good that I don't wanna miss out on the games that they're making, especially from studios like Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch. I think that, the new game is called Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are games like the next Last of Us and the new Sucker Punch game I really wanna play, so I think I'm gonna go with the PS5.
The new Xbox is more powerful than the PS5, but I'm with you. I don't really see any reason to buy an Xbox if I can't play The Last of Us or the next God of War or the next Horizon or the next Spider-Man, maybe a sequel to Bloodborne on the Xbox.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Sony's been killing it with exclusives.
Yeah, they basically have proven themselves. And also with the things being more and more digital, I feel like console transitions are different than they have been before because of, the possibility of your digital purchases being transferred over to the next console.
Oh, yeah, are they having a? Because I know when the PS3 switched to, PS4, that console, they didn't have backwards compatibility, so is that gonna be a thing?
It's really weird because first they said, 100 of the most played PS4 games will be compatible on PS5, and then the next day, they said, "We hope to make the vast majority of the 4,000 plus games on PS4 compatible." The next day, they changed it.
The next day?
Yeah. So that tells me they're really not sure themselves. But with the PS3 to PS4, games like Flower or Journey, it wasn't true backwards compatibility. It's just that if you had the game on PS3, it was free to download the PS4 version.
Okay. So that's how they do it. They don't just let you port it over. You have to wait until the updated version comes out.
Or games like Assassin's Creed 4, if you got it on the old console, they let you upgrade, I think, for $10 to the new generation.
I played that one on PS3, I think. Actually, no, that was one of the first games I got for PS4.
Black Flag.
Yeah, Black Flag. I think that was the last Assassin's Creed game I got really into. After that, was it Unity was the next one?
Dude, I don't know. Their naming conventions are weird because they go Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed 2, and then Brotherhood, Revelations, and then Assassin's Creed 3, and then they do Assassin's Creed 4 with a subtitle, and they just really mix it up.
I loved the Assassin's Creed games when they came out. Brotherhood, in particular, was my favorite one.
For better or for worse, though, they have influenced every fucking open world game to have a tower to climb so that you can open up the map.
That's so true.
Even Zelda has it.
Yeah, I mean, even some of their like, the way they did, climbing and, like, parkour and stuff, that's in a lot of games, even God of War.
The new God of War?
Yeah, like, the parkour, you know how, like, in Ezio would climb buildings? Well, I don't know, was Uncharted before, Assassin's Creed?
No, I don't think so.
I'm sure that a game before Assassin's Creed did the climbing thing, but that was the first game that I played where I noticed the way that, like, Ezio would climb buildings and stuff, and that's kind of the same way that Nathan Drake climbs walls and God of War and Kratos does it in God of War 2.
Well, I think the progenitor to Assassin's Creed is another Ubisoft game, Prince of Persia. I think Assassin's Creed was actually supposed to be a Prince of Persia game, but they just repurposed it into its own new thing.
Oh, was the climbing in Prince of Persia?
Yeah, you played this Prince of Persia who was climbing and controlling time. If you look at the gameplay, he climbs and he does melee combat. Assassin's Creed really looks like a spiritual successor to Prince of Persia. Yeah, and then they stopped making those games because now we have Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. How do you feel about Ubisoft as a company?
Oh, so you say Ubisoft?
Yeah, Ubisoft, or do you say Ubisoft?
No, I say Ubisoft, and that's because it's a portmanteau of ubiquitous software.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that so I'm really into semantics. So then when I hear people on podcasts, they say Ubisoft, I just think to myself, it's not ubiquitous software.
Ubiquitous.
Yeah, but what were you saying?
Oh, I just wanna know which one you liked, or if you liked Ubisoft as a company.
Yeah, I appreciate them because as big as they are, they seem to be willing to experiment.
Yeah, Watch Dogs was a pretty cool experiment that's but I feel like that kinda suffered from, overhype, and The Division 2 in a way.
Oh yeah, I forget that that's Ubisoft. They started to make a bunch of their games where you keep coming back to them, like The Division, Rainbow Six,
Yeah.
even the new Assassin's Creed. They make it like a single player MMO, but then they also have smaller games like the Rayman games, which are really good platformers. What do you think about them?
I like them, but I feel like sometimes once they get something, like, right, you know, like, they'll get Assassin's Creed right, and they'll just kinda keep it was pretty much the same game over and over for a while until they switched it up.
Yeah, with Origins.
Mhm, and then Odyssey now. Yeah, I feel like their games can get a little stale, when they, like, kinda rinse and repeat, but some games I think are really, really good, like the early Assassin's Creed games and, Rainbow Six, and I like Watch Dogs. I know that a lot of people like Watch Dogs too. Oh, dude, I completely blanked. They made Far Cry. Far Cry 3 is one of my favorites. Far Cry 3 was great, but that's another one where they kinda, like they rinsed and repeated the formula of Far Cry 3.
Have you played Blood Dragon?
I played a little bit of it, I didn't beat it though.
That one was so cool. It was 15 bucks. It was fucking 80s as hell.
Yeah.
But they kind of stopped doing Far Cry for a little bit, didn't they? There hasn't been one in maybe 2 years.
Yeah, Far Cry 5 came out in 2018. Ubisoft, I always kinda, like, saw Ubisoft as an EA to be very similar as companies.
Really? In what kind of way?
I don't know, I just saw them as, like, almost like they're kinda like the 2 biggest ones in my eyes, like, they always had, E3 press conferences, and, I thought that they were kinda similar as they were both, they kinda had, like, large franchises, that they kinda banked on to make a lot of their money.
You can't forget about Activision.
Activision's huge too.
With it being a new decade, I saw the top selling game of of each year of the last decade, and I think 8 out of the 10 years was Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's crazy how much that game still sells.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that I saw Activision is, like, almost on like, they have Call of Duty, like, they're, like, the biggest. I lump Activision in there as well, but I guess it was just 'cause, EA and Ubisoft had the press conferences that I would always watch.
Hmm. Yeah, Activision, they usually choose a partner. They usually partner with either well, this generation it's been with PlayStation, but last generation they were always on the Xbox conference.
Yeah, revealing the new Call of Duty single player every year.
Eventually it's gotta wane, but it's still going really strong.
Yeah, it's going crazy strong. I think the last Call of Duty I played was, other than Warzone, was Call of Duty Ghosts.
That one I think that one was considered really mediocre.
Yeah, it was trash.
I mean, that's one of the few ones they didn't even make a sequel to.
Yeah, so, what have you been playing? Are you still, playing Animal Crossing? Any more Apex?
I just play Animal Crossing every day, but it's usually chore work, routine work, watering my flowers, digging up fossils that always spawn the next day. Yeah, eventually I should be unlocking this ability to terraform the island, and that's when I'll probably get more into it, but right now it's nothing really notable. And then I recently got into this thing called Picross, and it's basically this logic puzzle game where you're trying to fill up a grid to complete a picture. And I didn't know this, but it's actually a really old thing. I mean, they even had Mario's Picross on the original Game Boy, and they had it on SNES, but they're really cheap. They're maybe $7 to $9, but I've been playing the first one for over 10 hours.
Oh, wow. How does it work?
So it's a grid, and then there are different sizes of grids. It could be a 10 by 10 or a 15 by 15, or usually if you're first starting out learning the rules, you just start out on a 5 by 5. And basically, you're trying to figure out which so you can either have a block on the grid that's filled or not filled. So it's basically monochromatic, what's filled and what's not filled, and eventually it'll make a picture. Each column and row, it'll have a number or multiple numbers on it. So let's say on a 5 by 5 grid, the first column it says 2 and 3. That means there has to be 2 successive blocks that are filled and then 3 successive blocks that are filled.
Mm, okay. And it could be anywhere on the grid or in that row?
Oh shit, no, never mind. So it's a 5 by 5. Let's say the numbers are 2 and 2, not 2 and 3. So they have to be in the right oh, that was a bad example because 2 and 2, they're the same number. But if it were 1 and 2, you'd have to make the one that's 1 block that tells you that it comes before the one that is a 2 block.
Oh, I get it. And then you, because 'cause I'm looking at pictures of it, and then do you mark those with an X?
Yeah. So, and another rule is that once you've finished one of the numbers, the rule is that no 2 numbers can be right next to each other. So, a 1 block and a 2 block cannot be touching. So that's another part of the deductive reasoning. You put the X between it because you know for sure that they cannot touch each other, or else it would make a 3 block, you know?
Okay.
And it really sucks me in just playing all these puzzles.
It seems really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I started playing a free version on my phone. So the idea of Picross, it doesn't belong to it's not copyrighted. So I was playing a generic version on my phone and I was really liking it. And then I got it on Switch and I really like it on Switch.
Yeah, I could see this being a cool Switch game to have. Switch is like the perfect indie machine. I know that that's been said many times, but it really is.
Yeah, it is. I saw that they're bringing BioShock and Borderlands and XCOM to Switch.
Ooh, XCOM would be cool on the Switch.
Yep. Yeah, so I've been playing Picross. That's a really nice palate cleanser. It's a nice game where I can listen to I can't really listen to a podcast while I'm playing Picross because I really have to concentrate, but it's nice to listen to music alongside it. And I already mentioned Art of Rally, which I really think you should check out. And we played Apex a few times. I've also been playing with my old friend from high school and then my 2 coworkers who are brothers. It's kind of funny because they're playing in the same house, but we're on Discord, so they have to close their doors or else they're gonna hear an echo. Because you know how there's a slight delay when you're talking online. They're in their respective rooms and they have to close their doors,
That's funny.
but it's really fun playing Apex. I've been looking at getting a monitor, maybe a 1080p one so that I can push it to higher frame rate. Because the one I have right now is 1440p, but it only goes up to 60 hertz. How are you liking playing on PC? I mean, I know you play with a controller, but is it any different?
Don't oust me as playing with a controller on PC. I don't know. I don't think it's too different. I know that some games, like I have Siege on a PS4 and PC. I play Siege with a mouse and keyboard, and the PC people are much better. But I don't really see too big of a difference with Apex. Maybe I'm just too low of a level though.
I imagine Siege is a game that is vastly different when you go from controller to mouse, because everything is just close quarters.
hmm And people are so fast. Like you can just move so much faster with a mouse and keyboard, like your aim and stuff. So.
Yeah, so I just have 2 more things to talk about. Then we can talk about what you've been doing and then those ideas that you had. I'm still watching Westworld. I finished season 2, I think earlier last week, and then I think I've watched up to 3 episodes of season 3, which is the current season that's airing. It's really interesting. At the end of season 2, it reminded me of Evangelion because in Evangelion, the main character was had a dilemma over whether he wants to live in this paradise where it's not really real or if he wants to live in the real world where it's not perfect. In season 3 they had a huge change of setting and yeah, I'm enjoying it. And then I saw the news that Dune is going to be 2 movies.
What?
I can't pronounce his name, but the French director, he said that 1 movie would not do the book justice.
Oh, sick.
So I wonder if they're filming any I'm sure they're filming some parts for the 2nd movie, but yeah, I wonder how long it'll take for the 2nd one. But then when I heard that, I was thinking, I always hear about Dune being a really good sci-fi book. So then I checked it out on the Kindle store, and I saw that it was $2. So I downloaded it, and I actually have you heard of the Kindle Paperwhite?
Mhm.
Yeah, I actually have one. I started reading it, I think, 2 days ago. I've only read the first chapter. But the thing that was a question to me was what age group this is for, because I was thinking if this is a young adult one, like Twilight or, Hunger Games, then I'm gonna be kinda disappointed. But I could tell already from the first chapter that it's for fucking adults.
Yeah, it's definitely an adult sci-fi book. It's great though. I read that book last summer, and it was crazy. It's definitely my favorite sci-fi book. But I worked at the Aerospace Museum of California in Sacramento. Of course, a lot of the volunteers there were old nerdy dudes, and I got like every day I got into this argument with this man named Jerry because he hated Dune so much. He liked Isaac Asimov's The Foundation trilogy, which is another sci-fi book series. And he was every day he would just roast me for reading Dune, and I love that book. But I guess some people don't.
Was he just teasing you, or was he trying to fucking make you feel bad?
He just generally hated that book. He did not like it. He was an old aerospace engineer, which makes sense of why he's volunteering at the museum, but he just did not like it at all. I don't remember his reasoning, but I don't know. Like every time I saw him, I'd be like, "Dude, Dune is amazing still. I don't know when this book is gonna get bad."
Yeah, and then I saw that there are a ton of books in that series. I think there's at least 6.
I know that the main character Paul, he's only in the first 3, I believe.
Have you read any of the sequels?
No, I have not read any of the sequels. I was walking around though, and I saw Heretics of Dune. I don't know which book that is in the series, but it was in one of those libraries that they have on the side of the road where it's like take a book, leave a book, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I did not pick it up though because of the coronavirus.
Oh, that was recently?
Yeah, just yesterday.
You mean Heretics?
Is it Heretics?
Heretic?
Yeah, I probably pronounced it wrong, but
I just remember the first time I heard the word heretic was in Halo 2.
nice.
Yeah, I know the second one is Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for me. Do you want to talk about your idea, or do you want to talk about Apex, God of War slash Limbo?
Well, which idea? Which one? I think I said two. The game audio one, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the game audio. I just wanted to talk about, like, what games do you think have great audio? Because it's been something that I've, been focusing on a lot more in my games and movies and stuff. Because I was watching some YouTube videos about I watched a video on the Bastion sound designer/composer slash composer because he did the music and sound design, and then I watched another video on the duo that worked on, Hyper Light Drifter. There was one dude who did the music and one dude who did the sound design.
I fucking love Hyper Light Drifter.
It's a good one. Yeah, so what do you think about the audio in that game? Is it something that stuck out to you? Did you particularly notice it more than other game audio?
In Hyper Light Drifter,
Mhm.
not in a technical way. The only thing that stood out to me was that the music was good. Why was there something else that stood out to you?
No, not really. It was just, I know the dude who, did the sound design, he's, like, pretty big on YouTube doing, like, tutorials and other sound design videos. I think his name is Akash.
Disaster Piece?
Disaster Piece did the music, but, the sound design was made by this guy named Akash.
Yeah, nothing really stood out to me in terms of the non-music.
Are there any games that do stand out to you?
Yeah, it's actually I saw you're playing Limbo. It's actually the Playdead's game after Limbo, Inside. Have you played that one?
No, I want to though. I wanted to beat Limbo first, but I would like to get to that one.
Yeah, let me just say that Inside is actually my favorite game
Oh.
for a lot of reasons. I hope you haven't seen what's inside.
No, I've stayed completely like anytime any YouTuber, 'cause I remember when Kind of Funny did their game of the year for that year. Inside was pretty high on some of their lists, and I would just always scroll past it. So I tried to keep myself spoiler free.
Try to avoid thumbnails or anything, because what's inside is really interesting. But the sound actually stood out to me in Inside, and it wasn't the music, because there's not really much music actually. It's the ambient noise that just plays throughout the entire game. It's just this ambient noise. It's not really creepy ambient noise, but it's not really warm either. And I heard that the sound designer, to create some of the ambient noise, he didn't say how, but he got a human skull, and then he put a headband around the skull, and then I think he attached some microphones to it, and then that's how he did something to it, and that's how he got some of the audio for the game. Not the audio, but the ambient sound. It's whatever comes out of noise ringing through the human skull.
Wow, that's very creative.
Yeah, and you can't really tell that I mean, no one can tell that it's a human skull, but if you read about it, when I read about it, it just made me appreciate how the game came to be. Because I'm sure most people don't use a human skull to make their game, and it just really stood out to me. It really fits it well too, that whole studio.
Yeah, I was looking. Aren't they located in like Europe?
Yeah, but I forgot where. I don't think it's Sweden. It's somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, because I was looking at like different jobs. Like I just wanted to see like what game developers like were hiring for. I thought they were based in the US, but I looked, I'm like, oh, they are in Europe.
I know the two co-founders, one of them actually left the company, and then he made his own studio, which is pretty interesting because now we're gonna get the next game from Play Dead eventually, and then we'll also get another game from the guy who went off to do his own thing.
Yeah. I wonder if this new guy's game is gonna be, or the dude, not new, but the dude who went and made his own studio. I wonder if it's gonna be in the same style as Limbo and Inside.
Yeah, that'll when a person leaves and then you see the next product from the old team, it's always interesting to see how it turns out because it kind of sheds more light on what the other person had to contribute.
Definitely. Yeah. So game audio, I just think is really interesting. Speaking of God of War a little earlier, I think that game has great sound design. One of my favorites for sure.
That game, pretty much every facet of it was tended to with a magnifying glass.
Yes, it was. I don't know. I felt like I felt like I was so close. I thought I was close to beating it like so many times, but then something else would happen. Like I was up at the top, and then you would get you had to fight Balder again, and you got back up, and then oh, you need the crystal, and then you need to get his eye because then you need to reflect the light. That was the only thing that I didn't love about the game, but everything else I thought was damn near perfect.
Hmm. Did you play any of the previous God of Wars?
I played a little bit of the first one, but barely any, and then I played some of Ascension.
Okay. I played a little bit of all of them. I think I've finished both of the PSP ones. I've finished the first one, but when he was talking about how he needs something from home, when he was referencing the Blades of Chaos, I
Mhm.
was thinking, "Oh my fucking god, he's gonna get the fucking blades." And so
Right?
I was already excited for that. And then when he actually took him out, I got fucking goosebumps.
It was dope. It was so cool.
Yeah. Dude, I gotta play that game again because I know that if you play it on PS4 Pro, the frame rate can go higher than 30 frames. So I really wanna, when PS5 comes out, I really wanna play it again on PS5.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Did you ever beat the any of the Valkyries?
Yeah, I beat a few of them. They're fucking hardcore.
I almost beat the one that you found in Freya's like little cave, but yeah, she ended up just beating my ass repeatedly, and I was like, I'll come back to this. And I never did.
Did you find out who the last Valkyrie is?
No, I never did. Who is it?
I never saw it myself, but I heard that it's Freya.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know if you kill her or not, because she's supposed to be a main character, a side character.
Oh, I looked it up. It says, that, the sister of Freyr, the former queen of the Valkyries.
Oh, it wasn't Freya herself?
I don't think so. I don't really know. I'm looking at the wiki right now. It's just what the first thing I looked up.
Oh. But yeah, the way the game looks, if you're just watching someone play the game, the way every animation looks like it blends into the next one, it looks so fucking impressive, dude. And you know when he counters an attack with his shield and it goes into slow motion for a second, or when he's doing a mid combo, he switches to the blade or back to his axe, or when he throws his axe and then he raises up his hand and it comes back.
It feels so good. That's like the most satisfying feeling in the game is when you call the axe back and it just perfectly like smacks into your hand.
Yeah, that's such a great direction for the game to go in, because before it was this more of an isometric view and there were way more enemies on screen, but bringing it down more intimately and behind his shoulder and with fewer enemies, if you're just hearing that in interviews before the game comes out, you might think, oh, it's going to be dumbed down. But no, it's been magnified.
It really has. That game is so good.
Yeah. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Is it still gonna be Norse, right, for the next setting?
I assume so. Did you see the little scene, the kind of like a post-credit scene?
Mhm. The with Thor?
Yeah,
Yeah, look badass.
seems like it's still gonna be there.
Yeah. That game, like, single-handedly made me more interested in Norse mythology.
Oh yeah, I remember you said that.
I bought this book called American Gods by Neil Gaiman just because it has Norse stuff, and I like Neil Gaiman a lot, but
Do you prefer reading physical?
I do.
Do you ever read on digital?
You know, I read comic books on digital sometimes, sometimes, like, on my phone, like, I bought, some Spider-Man comics. I think it was the Brian Michael Bendis run on Spider-Man. But other than that, no, I read pretty much everything physical.
Hmm. So you must have a shitload of, or you borrow mostly, or what?
No, I have a fat bookshelf that's overflowing.
Damn. So when you move into your apartment or house, you'll probably dedicate a lot of space to your collection.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, most of the books on my shelf are books that I have yet to read. So I might do like a little bit of a purge and just try and get rid of the books that I'm never gonna get to.
Why do you have a bunch of books? Is it because they were on sale?
Yeah, it's like my friends and I would go to a bookstore and then like a used bookstore, and then I'd see a book that I've been meaning to read for a good price. I'm like, oh, I'll pick it up, and soon that just gets out of hand, and you have shelves of books that you bought, and then it's a huge dilemma because like as you finish reading books, you find more books that you want to read. But at least for me, I have this huge like backlog of books that I already own that I know I should be reading, but I always end up just getting what I want to read at the time.
There's this thing I heard on a podcast that this guy said in terms of backlog and how to keep it from growing is only buy a game if you're going to play it. I mean, if you're ready to play it right then. Even if it's on a half off or 75% off, because chances are by the time 3 months go by and you haven't played the game, it's going to go on sale again.
It's very true. Speaking words of wisdom.
So any other games that stand out to you in terms of audio? So, do you mostly play with headphones?
Yeah, I actually now I do. Before I used to just use like my TV speakers, but I got nicer headphones and I wear them all the time now. But I'd say that my favorite of recent memory is definitely Breath of the Wild.
Do you have a Switch?
Yeah, I do have a Switch.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I do. But at the moment, I only have like the controllers that came with it, and I went up to Tahoe with my friends, and my other friend has a Switch, so he brought his controllers. and his dumb ass took 2 left ones home, so I have 2 right controllers right now.
When was that?
It was a few months ago, so it's been a while. I keep like, every time we hang out, I always forget. I'm like, "Damn," every time.
Damn, you guys should just mail it to each other.
We really should. That's not a bad idea.
Dude, there's so many. I have over 350 hours in Smash Brothers, and then Animal Crossing is great. The thing I like about the Switch is that it's the only console that is ready right out of the box to play with two players. So that means when people make games for the Switch, they don't have to make a decision of, oh my gosh, should we even work on this multiplayer? Because what if they don't have an extra controller? But they know that when they release a game on Switch, they can do multiplayer if they want.
It's a great plus. But yeah, Zelda was one of my favorites for sound design, and then Hollow Knight as well. Did you play that one?
I was playing it on Switch, but that one I couldn't get into.
Ah, you weren't into it?
No, it's I didn't really like the traversal. I mean, I do like Metroidvanias. I like Super Metroid, the Castlevania games, but I couldn't really get into Hollow Knight.
Mhm.
Did you beat it?
Dude, I did not, unfortunately. It's I got stuck on, fuck, what were their names? It's, like, widely known as one of the hardest bosses. They're like these warrior guys. Like, I got frustrated and I said, "Oh, I'll come back to it," and then I just like, every time I was like, I'm not gonna do it." Unfortunately, I did get stuck and I did not finish it.
When did you get a Switch?
I think I got a Switch maybe 3 years ago?
Oh, so when it was new?
It was pretty new, yeah. I got it around Christmas time because, that was when they were, like, selling out, right?
Yeah, I think maybe at least 3 months it was hard to get one. I remember at Best GameStop, if you wanted one, you had to buy their bundle.
Ah, scumbags.
But did I tell you my story on how I got two Switches?
Mm-mm.
All right, so I pre-ordered it on Amazon, and then two of my coworkers came over because it was supposed to come that day on Friday. And I was saying, "Hey, come over so we can play Zelda and Snipper Clips," which is this co-op game. We were playing, and then it was dinner time, so we decided to go to BJ's. And then when we came back, there was this box from Amazon that was for me. And I was thinking, what is this? I don't remember buying anything else. And then it was the same size as the Switch box that I got earlier that day. And then I just jokingly said, "Oh, what if it's another Switch?" And then when I fucking opened it, it was another fucking Switch. And I checked my Amazon account. I wasn't charged for anything, and even weeks after that, I wasn't charged for anything either. So my friend, he was playing Zelda and he really liked it, and I thought to sell it to him. He ended up buying it for. I probably could have asked him for more, but he ended up buying it for 150.
Dang, it wasn't it, 200?
It's 300.
It's 300. Dang, you hooked him up.
I know, yeah. I mean, even without tax either.
Yeah, you could have probably sold that thing online too if it was during, like, when it first came out for a lot of money.
The thing is though, someone probably got fucked over because I got two Switches I only played for one.
Yeah, and then if it was hard to find at the time, they was also like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah. Did you wanna talk about what you've been playing?
I mean, I feel like we kinda talked about a lot of them. Like, I've been playing Apex, beat God of War a few days ago, maybe a week ago or so, and then been making my way through Limbo, which we talked about Playdead for a little bit, so that's pretty much it. Something I wanted to say about Playdead that I really like is that I love how everything is timed perfectly in that game. When you are, like, running from somebody, they give you just enough time to get away, you know?
Yeah, it's hella asshole puckering. They
It
do the same thing in Inside as well.
it's awesome. That studio is special.
Yeah. After Limbo, it took something like 7 years for Inside, so they must be extremely meticulous. Inside is even more handcrafted. I really like that they don't have any of that procedural generated kinda stuff. I don't think there's anything that's perfect, but Inside is such a near perfect piece of fucking art. All around, the animation is great, the art direction is great. Just the whole conceit of not really shoving lore in your face is definitely not insulting to me because I don't need fucking tutorials or a fucking dialogue box to tell me what's going on. And then at the end, when you find out what's inside, it's great.
So you mentioned it's a great piece of art. How do you feel about the obviously games like The Last of Us and Inside and Journey, they can be viewed as like artful experiences. How do you feel they compare it to something like Apex, which is more of a competitive game?
What do you mean by how do they compare?
Like, do you think that one has more merit than the other, or do you not view it that way? Or just games and art as general and the different distinctions between different types of games?
Oh, you're talking about just the idea of games being art?
Exactly, yeah.
I think all games are art. Just like how not everything has to be the Mona Lisa to be art, I think not everything has to be inside to be art. Even something like Apex, I would consider that. And the reason why I say that is because so let's take Apex for example. Even though you have emotes and skins and fucking guns and shit and not a somber setting, it's really upbeat. Even with that, you have to think about the people who are behind the game actually making the game. I mean, for example, the map. I'm sure every aspect of the map, every location, every hill that's higher than something that's higher than a tree, or every tree that's spread apart from another tree, I'm sure everything was deliberately placed with the idea of the people put inside of that world interacting with each other in mind, so that when you hit the play button, when you let everything loose, that it all flows in a way that's not jarring, and basically just good design. To be a good designer, you have to have a creative mind. You don't really have to be a musician or a skin designer. I think even someone who's designing the mechanics of the game is an artist. It's just that people, when you say the word art to a group of 1,000 people, I bet you most of them will think of a paintbrush, or I bet you the last thing they would think of is a fucking time to kill or respawn rates or anything. But those people, they put thought into making these games that aren't really necessarily thought of as art from the outside to most people.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, I'm reading the Steve Jobs biography right now. The big thing is, like, blending of art and technology, and I feel like all games, even something with no story like Apex per se, it takes like, they're designing every aspect of that game, and I think that almost everyone on that team is expressing themselves in one way or another.
Yeah. I mean, you might be able to argue that the QA tester isn't an artist because they're not really making anything, but a lot of you're not having an AI make it. You're having a human make it, a human who probably has their own taste in music, who has their own favorite color. It's a human who's making different aspects of a game.
Definitely. So how does it stand against something like Tetris per se?
You mean Apex?
Or, like, just the application of art to Tetris. Like, I can think of ways that Tetris can be considered art, but is even something as simple as that, do you think that could be considered art as well?
Yeah, I think Tetris could be considered art, for the reasons that I mentioned, because someone designed it, but also in a different way, which would be that when you're playing a game of Tetris and then it clicks with you, because when you make art, traditional art, a painting, a lot of the times the artists, when they're showing it to the public, they're hoping that something resonates with the viewer. And in the case of Tetris, when something clicks with them where they feel like, "Oh my god, I fucking love this game." I get the whole nuance of stacking really high except for that one little column. I get the whole thrill of that. To me, that's the equivalent of an artist getting a reaction from a viewer or whatever it may be.
So it's like the emotion. If it can evoke emotion out of the player, then that's all that matters. Whether it's joy, whether it's frustration, and all games can do that for people. So I guess that all games should be considered art then.
Yeah. To me, what art is anything that's created. I mean, not literally. And some people might not think that creating a baby is art. I don't know, because they're just fucking, what do you call it?
They're just fucking.
Fertilizing the.
Oh, fertilizing.
Yeah, that you're not really doing any creative work. You're just
Yeah.
doing science. But yeah, I feel like you could even classify science as art too. Let's say what's something fucking scientific? Like a fucking car. Someone had to actually think of something and apply it to make the first car. You know, it's not just four wheels and a fucking door. It's everything that's literally inside of it working with everything else that's inside of it in tandem. Yeah, so I feel like there are so many things you could consider art.
There's definitely games definitely fall right in between technology and art, and I think that's why part of the reason why it's such an exciting form of entertainment for people.
The unique thing about video games when it comes to art is that when you compare it to something like music and movies and books and painting, it's that the viewer can actually put their hand in the art and affect the art. In other words, they're playing the game. They're not just a literal audience. They are actually a part of the game.
Yeah, the experience.
When you play a movie in a theater and there's 100 people watching it, that movie is going to play out the same for everyone else. I mean, people are probably going to take away different things, have different views on it. But when it comes to games, everyone playing inside, they're going to be playing it in different ways. Someone might be really good at the game and never die, and then they won't even see the animation or on how your character looks when you're dying. They won't ever get to see that part of the game.
Yeah, that's true. The unique form of personal storytelling that comes with games is definitely something that makes games special. The 2 people that play Skyrim will have completely different experiences, like, they'll have different stories to tell, different funny experiences that, they went through. But something else that I think that makes games, super cool compared to other forms of art is that with the technology, games keep getting better, and there's not too many other industries that are like that. People can find new ways to paint and new techniques and stuff, but a paintbrush is not gonna get any better. For the most part, I'm sure camera technology is better, but I don't know, I feel like we're getting as, like, realistic as we can with movies, but games is unique because as the technology gets better, the quality of immersion also increases.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's not really many ways you can change the way you watch a movie. It's basically you sit down and then you watch the movie. I mean, people have tried the fucking smell-o-vision shit, but that's just an absolute gimmick. But with games, the engines are always evolving, the hardware is always getting more powerful, the whole medium is still in its infancy, and it has more potential to evolve, whereas something like music, you can't really make a new it's kinda hard to make a new genre. You got your guitars and your synthesizers, and you got the fact that it's an audio-based medium, but the notion that games are interactive, I think that adds an exponentially bigger ceiling of potential for it to just be different from something else that's some other video game.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so I would recommend, especially if you like Limbo, to play it inside.
Yeah, you definitely gave me some games I gotta check.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. No, I think we got it covered.
All right, so thank you, Devin, for joining me. We didn't really talk about the news really, so this is more like a, I don't want to be obnoxious, but this is more like an evergreen kind of episode. We're not really talking about what's happening, just talking about what's already happened. Yeah, it was nice having you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was my first time I've ever done a podcast, so it was fun.
Yeah, nice. And then if you still want to do the our thoughts on game of the generation, I'd be down to do that too.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We can make lists and stuff.
Hmm. This is Peer Inward. Whoever's listening, that one ear, thank you. My name is John Sunyo, and thanks, Devin, for joining me.
Yeah, no
And have a
problem.
good day.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off on the have a good day. Do you